Changing pot sizes.
If you are changing pot sizes, you're going to need to make adjustments to the drilling rack on the left hand side of the machine. The first thing you're going to need to do is to release the height adjustment locking handle. Once released, you will be able to adjust the drilling rack with the handle on the top, turning clockwise to raise the drilling rack or anti-clockwise to lower it. These adjustments, of course, will be made to suit the pot height that you're changing to.
Okay, second part is to adjust the pot rack to suit the pot that you're going to use. You have to turn the machine on, and there's an inspection hole just here. Now we've slowed the machine down so that it's easier to get the adjustment over here because there's only a tiny little hole to work through. Just to the left of the bolt head are these two adjustment sockets. So that's what you sort of keep an eye on. We kneel down until the bolt head is basically just under it and turn the machine off. Okay, we've got two adjustment sockets for the width of the pot that we're using. Initially, if you're using a bigger pot, you use the left-hand socket and wind it clockwise to make it move into the machine. Then you go to the right-hand socket and do exactly the same thing. And this one actually spreads the arms out to suit the new size pot, which are these arms here. So you basically keep winding that out until the pot drops into it comfortably with just a fraction of movement. And once that one's done, you go back to the first one and wind that so this arm comes out and just touches the back of the pot. So basically you've got a fairly loose pot in there. Once that's done, you go to the main bolt here. Now what we're going to do is lift this up. In this particular case, as high as this will go.
Other way.
Obviously counterclockwise to lift. The machine's at its height now, don't force it any more than that once it stops. Very important, take this out because it makes a hell of a mess in the machine. Then we just recheck this one. It's just a little bit, no, actually that's not too bad. That's, as long as it's just got enough movement so that it doesn't stick, and that's fine. That's that adjustment finished now. You don't have to do anything else, just leave it as it is. You just go back in the machine, straight up. Cover that inspection. Okay, next part of the machine we go to is the pot dispensing unit, and this is where you set up the pot and pot sit on the pot rack so that they drop into each other. This is the pot dispensing unit, as we call it. This is where adjustments are done for the pots to drop into the machine, onto the pot rack itself, and get ready for the levelling for the drill bit to go through. The first thing you do is this yellow button here, is push that until the jaws on the inside open out. If they don't open, you've got no air connected up to your air compressor. If you push it, it just closes back in. But it has to open up originally so that you can fit the second pot in, which is open now. The two crank handles here, one does the lower jaws, which the pot actually sits on, and the top crank does the jaws, which actually separate the pots themselves. So the first thing we do is start winding the two crank handles. You have to do them roughly about the same. You can't wind one right out because it will jam the other, so you do them bit by bit. As you're cranking this out, all this mechanism up here will also move, because it spreads out to hold these arms that hold the pots in. They all move at the same time. So it's all one complete unit. Because we're now using a bigger pot than what we have been, we need to adjust the height of this unit so that the pot is not hitting the adjustable pot rack track underneath. All you do is loosen off the lock handle and just wind this up to the height that you need, or just wind it up enough so that you can actually put the pot in so it sits easily on the jaws. Okay. Don't lock that as yet because you're going to have to do more adjustments on it. One problem you may have at certain times is with a larger pot, they have a bigger lip on them. You have a gap between your separating jaws and your bottom jaws. Just at the back here is a black knob. If you turn that, it will raise the height of the separating jaws here. For most smaller pots, 125, 140 and 175, you won't have to do any adjustment. It's just this pot with a very large lip on it because of the style of the pot that we use. Once you've got the room there, then you can just wind this one back in until it sits comfortably, which is just sitting on that now. Right, to adjust for a larger pot, you use your bottom crank handle so that the pot sits fairly loosely underneath and the jaws just sort of hold onto the pot. You don't want to squeeze the pot like that, it's too tight, so just loosen it up a bit. Then for your upper jaws, which spread the pots, you push your yellow button so the jaws go in, and you want it so they're not actually touching the pot, but they're underneath. With these jaws here, you basically want them about halfway between your two pots, clockwise to go up. About halfway, that's where that sits. Because we have to put a pot into the pot rack track itself and adjust the height of this pot onto that pot track. Okay, next we just turn the machine on. Stop. Okay, this is where we need some other adjustments. Bars have to be just adjusted around so the pot sits happily in there. This is where we have to raise the pot up again. Its handle's still loose, so we literally wind it up so that the base of the top pot is about 2.5 centimetres or 1 inch above the pot sitting on the bottom. Tighten up your lock nut. Now you may have to adjust this a little bit, especially on the bigger pots. Next adjustment is to centralise this pot over the top of that. Undo the two black knobs on both sides of the machine and just push or pull to suit. When it's lined up, so it sits over the pot, tighten those up. If you turn the machine on and these pots don't drop, it's because there's a sensor just here going onto there, and if there's no pots, these will not drop. Next adjustment is the conveyor belt, two-person job. Undo the lock nut, lift up the conveyor until it's horizontal, and just tighten up the lock nut. Okay, next adjustment, two wing nuts here, just loosen them off, and basically you're going to have this bar here level this bar here, so when the pots go in, they drop square into the dispenser itself. Just basically line it up in the end so that it's straight. Now, although we're saying just the bar, what you really need to do is make sure the edge of the pot or the lip of that pot there is touching this side bar. So as long as that is straight, you shouldn't have any problems, which is okay there. Tighten up your wing nuts and that's it. The last main adjustment that you do is the first one that you did to set it up, and it's the last one to finish off. All we're doing now is we're adjusting the height. There's a plate behind here where the pot comes through and it just levels out the soil. Just wind the machine up or down so the plate, the rubber plate here, is about 1/2 to 1 centimetre above the pot. Once it is in position, just lock it up, and that should be the last adjustment on the outside of the drill unit. Then we've got to work on the inside of it. Part is to open up the drill unit, just using the key, don't lose it. Inside you've got two main adjustments. Adjust this one, you undo the black handle, and you've got your wind up here, and literally wind up, and as you do, you see the plate, you're roughly just sitting above the height of the pot. In this case, although I don't have a pot underneath, I'm just going to stick one just to the side of it. You can see I've still got to wind up to level. You basically don't want the drill plate crushing the pot as it drops down. Right, basically this is still a little bit high, just above the pot, so just slight more adjustment. Just drop it down a fraction. So it's basically sitting just above the pot, or just sitting on the pot like that, and tighten up your lock nut again. Your last adjustment, or should be your last adjustment, is to centralise the drill bit into the pot. Undo the galvanised wing nut there, and with this little arm here, you just wind in or out to suit the pot. the whole drill motor goes in and out. In this case we need to go out. It's probably easier to have somebody watching on the side, they can sort of centralise them all for you. To stop. Then once you've got the drill bit in centralised, just lock it up and close up the panel, because the machine will not operate. There's a safety switch inside, so the machine will not operate while that panel's open. Lock it up and hopefully it should be ready to rock and roll.